Greetings, fellow musicologists. I'm Tamulis. Welcome to the channel. 30 years of images and words by Dream Theater. Wow, what a phenomenal album. And I'm going to share my interpretations of the song Pull Me Under. You know, the album is huge, so there's no way to tackle the whole thing. So we're going to talk about Pull Me Under. It's the only hit by Dream Theater, right? And we have to blame the bard, William Shakespeare, and the way it inspired Kevin Moore. But let's look at the lyrics so we can see why it's so Hamlet-esque. The lyrics pack up a lot of info. It's probably his most complicated play. But let's look at verse 1. So it starts with, lost in the sky, clouds roll by and I roll with them. So clouds rolling by, they mean that things are changing, right? The time for darkness is coming, for rain. It's kind of like this preamble for tragedy to come forth. So the song begins setting the scene. The next part would be like, arrows fly, seas increase and they fall again. Well, this song is really cool because it gets to gel the perfect melodic atmosphere with the right linguistic choices. So really interesting. So the arrows here, they can represent various things, but they are obviously a weapon, and you can also picture fate, since fate is like the arrow, the bad things that happen to us. The arrows are hitting him. It's the adverse circumstance, you know, in a way it's the trajectory that's already set, at least in this fatal universe of Shakespeare, you know, and fatal here literally is related to fate. And Kevin Moore probably read this part of the play, you know, what they call like the soliloquy, the to be or not to be speech, you know, that very famous part. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing, end them. All right, so sorry I tried some British accent there, but let's look at the bridge now. You know, it goes like, this world is spinning around me, this world is spinning without me, and every day since future to past, every breath leaves me one last to my last. Well, Hamlet's world here is just going nuts, you know, spinning like crazy. You got Denmark under attack by Norway, since, you know, you have Prince Fortinbras who wants to attack the country to honor his father. So, you know, Hamlet's family is just falling apart, you know, he is unhappy. So every day it's like future going back to past. What's the past here? You know, it's clear that the events of his father's murder, you know, here, you know, it's just the past influencing the present, you know, ghosts appearing, political events happening. Very existential line when you say every breath leaves me one less to my last. You know, it's the classic philosophizing here about our mortality. It's the example of a soliloquy that Hamlet's obsessed with death. He's just fixated, you know, with life after death. And now we go to that part, you know. Watch the sparrow falling gives new meaning to it all. If not today, not yet tomorrow, then some other day. So this part is amazing, and it's complex. Because here I interpret the sparrow as Hamlet's father. You know, he watches death and his life from that moment onwards has obviously a new meaning, you know, the meaning to avenge the death of his father. So we have this father-son metaphor, and the line about today and tomorrow, it means that time does not really care about human, you know, troubles. Things will happen now and maybe tomorrow, and the world will just keep spinning, no matter if we're dead or alive, you know. And then we go to, I'll take 7 lives for one, and then my only father's son, as sure as I did have a love, and I am not afraid, something like that. But the first line here is really clear, you know. Hamlet will kill, or, you know, 7 people will be dead, and let's count who will be dead. Well, we got Polonius, we got Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, Laertes, Gertrude, King Claudius, and then obviously he himself will take his own life. Well, he's going to be poisoned, but regardless, he will die. Spoiler alert, sorry, but yeah, Dream Theater is just telling us that here. And then obviously Hamlet will say, well, I'm not afraid. And that's true, he's not afraid to die. He's actually afraid to go to hell. What matters here is that you have, revenge. And revenge is obviously a dangerous desire. Now we have the chorus, pull me under, pull me under, pull me under, I'm not afraid. All that I feel is honor and spite. All I can do is to set it right. Well, so it's pretty self-explanatory, At the same time, we don't really know what Hamlet wants to be put under, but it's probably related to the sea of troubles, I'm not afraid. I'm going to honor my father, and I will hate you all, especially my uncle Claudius. The hate is just building up. The goal is to set things right, but at the same time, it's a tragedy, It's like Oedipus. It's what happens with fatal tragedies, in ancient Greece and Rome and medieval times. It's a masterpiece. A song that's really heavy and complex and progressive, and a hit single, and with all this stories and ideas about Hamlet. So let's finish up. I have the other part now, dust fills my eyes, clouds roll by and I roll at them. Centuries cry, horrors fly, and I fall again. Here we have the water motif, both from the clouds and the cries. This will enhance Hamlet's depression. The clouds, they mean that the storm is coming, that King Claudius is bringing death to the lives of everyone. But at the same time, Hamlet is also part of the storm. He is a contributor of chaos. Order is out the window. He's contributing to this spinning world without order. But there is a little novelty there that's really interesting when he sings, living my life too much in the sun, only until your will is done. So a good tragedy is a conflict between fate and free will. And what do? You just accept fate, or do you have the desire to really control your destiny? You're going to live your life in the sun, here in the light, or as the son of Hamlet, or as the stepson like of Claudius. But all of a sudden I see that fate is just giving me all these troubles, the sea of troubles. And then we reach the end of this mammoth of a song, this huge epic, and the song that propelled Dream Theater into stardom. And there's a little the very last part there that says, oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, the end was, that part there. And that means that Hamlet wishes that his body could just melt away, right? He could just die and disappear. He would cease to exist, and he would leave all his problems behind. All right, my fellow musicologists, that's the end of Hamlet's journey. I hope that you enjoyed the song. This is an example of words and images being generated by melodies, and I'm so glad Dream Theater is celebrating happy 30th anniversary to Images and Words. Please keep listening to good music and lyrics that move you, no matter what the subgenre of metal that you love. Please subscribe and hit the bell button if you can. Music is what music does. Bye now.